Have you ever tried to sit still and suddenly remembered what you lost? Not just a person, but a moment, a life, a version of yourself. This isn't nostalgia, it's grief, reborn through memory. And Shakespeare wrote it into a sonnet. He calls it a session, a court, where he summons the ghosts of the past and listens, not to judge them, but to relive them, to re-feel the weight of what's gone. In Elizabethan England, a session was a trial, a formal inquiry. This sonnet is a tribunal of remembrance, and the sentence is sorrow. Each name, each memory, each tear called forward as witness. Time becomes the judge, grief the jury, and the verdict is always the same. We mourn again what we thought we had survived. In 1596, Shakespeare's only son, Hamnet, died at the age of 11. The loss carved a silent scar in his poetry. No elegy remains, no funeral ode. But if you listen to the sonnets, you'll find echoes of a father still searching for his child in every metaphor of absence. Hamlet's death came at a moment of paradox. Shakespeare had begun to ascend. The theatres had reopened after plague. The Lord Chamberlain's men, his company, had royal favour. He was no longer anonymous, no longer mocked. But grief doesn't care for crowns or playbills. In Will in the World, Stephen Greenblatt reflects that it was in success and not failure that Shakespeare faced his deepest sorrow. Because when the applause fades, you're left alone with the names you cannot call back. We often imagine grief as dramatic, but more often, it's administrative, a slow daily audit of everything that's missing. As Gary Waller describes in late Shakespeare and the English Baroque, Shakespeare's later works reveal a deeper engagement with time, mortality, and the fading of presence, not in spectacle, but in the stillness of reflection. This sonnet is not a cry, it's a whisper, a reconciliation between the past and the present, a poet with ink-stained fingers, quietly accounting for the cost of feeling too much. In Shakespeare's Theatre of Nature, Aaron Kitch explores the Renaissance belief that the universe itself was a harmony of memory and matter. For Shakespeare, memory became a form of sacred theatre, a way to summon not just people, but entire worlds lost to time. What if remembering was not just mourning, but a resurrection, incomplete but radiant? What if the only way to endure was to relive what we thought we had buried?
When to the sessions of sweet, silent thought I summon up remembrance of things past, I sigh, the lack of many a thing I sought, and with old woes new wail, my dear time's waste. Then can I drown an eye, unused to flow, for precious friends hid in death's dateless night, and weep afresh love's long since cancelled woe, and moan the expense of many a vanished sight. Then can I grieve at grievances foregone, and heavily from woe to woe tell o'er the sad account of fore-bemoaned moan, which I knew pay as if not paid before. But if the while I think on thee, dear friend, all losses are restored, and sorrows end.
Grief, here, is not explosion. It is accounting, line by line, tear by tear. He doesn't just feel the losses, he refeels them, like a bookkeeper returning to a ledger, knowing the numbers won't change, but needing to see them again. Each stanza is a spiritual reenactment, a deliberate revisiting of pain, long held and still unpaid. But the miracle of this sonnet lies not in its sorrow, but in its reversal. One name, one memory, and the balance shifts. Love, not just remembered, but refelt, becomes currency. Suddenly, all that was lost is no longer gone. In Shakespeare and the Poetics and Politics of Relevance, Dimpna Callahan writes that Shakespeare's greatest gift was to turn private lament into shared catharsis, to invite us into his grief, not to drown in it, but to rise through it. This is not fantasy. This is resurrection through recollection. It's the miracle of memory that one dear friend can make the weight of 100 losses bearable. But what happens when memory isn't enough? When the ache you carry doesn't come from the heart, but from the world outside? Shakespeare sat with his grief. He honored it. He named it. But he also lived in a time of injustice, of cruelty, of false praise and empty power. And soon, his sorrow turned outward, not to the past, but to the world before him. A world where art was undervalued, truth dismissed, honesty punished. And in the next sonnet, he breaks. Sonnet 66. Disenchantment with the world coming next. In Enlighten My Silence.